like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Hello, I am Uncle Mike, your favorite gamer's favorite uncle, and welcome to Wheels Up Wednesday, where here on the Xbox Series S, we do a flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and tonight we are going to recreate a flight that was posted on YouTube by Cory of the Flying Cowboys, where he flew around in his Cub Crafter's Cub, and I'm not really sure what model of Cub Crafter's Cub that he has. I don't know if it's an X-Cub or an SS, but I've got available to me here in the flight sim an X-Cub, and so we are going to go ahead and use that. It's a little bit more, I think, modern avionics. It also does not have as much power, doesn't have the performance that Cory's airplane does, and Cory's airplane is called Ghost. And I'll show you why I know that. It's not just because of YouTube and so on, but I'll show you that toward the end. But yeah, we've got a nice afternoon or evening flight here. It's going to take us most of the evening, so let's go ahead and get in the cockpit. So welcome aboard, and let's go ahead and get here our X-Cub going. I have started to really enjoy the avatar ever since they gave it to us with the military flight suit and military helmet from, well, they gave it to us in the sim after the movie Top Gun Maverick came out, so I just like flying with it, so we're going to go ahead and keep that. But here we are sitting at South Valley Airport, just south of Salt Lake City International Airport. And this is the home base of Ghost and Cory of the Flying Cowboys. There's Flying Cowboys base down in, I think it's Spanish Forks, a little bit to the south. There's some Flying Cowboys out in Reno. There's some, not sure where some of the other Flying Cowboys are based. That's something to actually look up and to think about. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this started here. So let's get the mixture, go ahead and get the mixture in. We'll lean that out later. I don't know if Cory's airplane Ghost has a constant speed prop with you know, with propeller control, but we do, so we can have some fun. But we have got full fuel tonight here in the tank. It's just us in the airplane, so I went ahead and I filled those all up. So fuel is on the left tank. Everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and get battery on, alternator come on, magnetos come on. Let's go ahead and, yep, we already got fuel pressure, so there we go. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Let's go put the avionics master on. We're in the airplane, so let's go ahead and get the anti-smash lights on. Everything else is looking good here. Just checking panels and everything, fuel levels. Nobody in the back seat with us tonight, unless it's you in the back seat with me. Like I said, fuel is going good. I like what I see here. So yeah, just like Cory's plane, he upgraded and actually added an autopilot. So we've got an autopilot in this one too. Makes it a little easier when we're out there flying for me to do things and to show you things when we're out there flying. But yeah, a little bit longer flight. It's going to be a little bit longer of a live stream here. It's probably going to be one of my longest live streams. So all right, so we're all set. Let's go ahead and all right. We've got a good start. Let's go ahead and get this. Go get the engine warming up here. Get a little bit of manifold pressure in, so oil pressure looks good. Constant speed prop kicks in with the oil. There we go. So we'll let this sit here for right now. It's completely VFR flight. The weather looks really nice out in Utah right now, so it looks like it's going to be a beautiful flight for us. Beautiful weather for us. We're going to be staying real low on this flight. We're going to be going out here and we're going to be seeing talking about some history of the railroad, Berlin Wall, Enola Gay and bombs, and then going out and seeing some art that's out here that you can look at. So yeah, a lot of stuff on this flight that we can go ahead and go see. So it looks like temperatures are coming up. I like that. And let's go ahead and but listen to the weather.
Uniform 42 automated weather observation 0000 Zulu. Wind 352 at 4. Visibility 10. Sky condition 14,400 feet scattered.
Yep.
Temperature 34C, 2.10C, altimeter 2983.
Okay, sounds good.
Uniform 42
because we're going to be flying all uncontrolled space, or where we don't need to talk to anybody, I'm not going to use ATC in the sim for this flight. I am going to go over here and make sure that I can see everything on live chat here. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and just, everything looks like it's really good. All things in the green. Like what I've got. We can come down over here. We can change a few things here. We can come up here on our touch screen and go ahead and zoom out. Now you can actually see here part of the Great Salt Lake. So that's something for us to know. But like I said, all VFR flight here today. No flight plan. Nothing like that going on for right now. So I'll go and leave the map on so you can actually look down there and see it every once in a while. And so now that we're warmed up, let's go ahead and pull a little bit of the mixture. We don't need it as. There we go. All right, so wind was out of the north, so we are going to taxi out here to the northern runway and take off to the north. So parking brake is coming off. We'll go ahead and start our roll here. I have been to this airport. That's part of the little teaser here about this. Also, one of the other things that I have decided to do on this flight is also turn on the nameplate so you can actually see all of the other live players that are in flight sim at the same time. So you can see that I am flying here with live weather. Ooh, didn't mean to actually put the brakes on that much. That I am flying with live weather and live players in the game. So we'll just taxi out here. Again, I've still got the taxi ribbon on, so if we ever land at an airport I'm not familiar with, just go ahead and gives me the taxi ribbon. This is also kind of the closest livery I could get to Ghost, it seems like. There's no real... There was another one that actually was more black, because Ghost is black, white, and orange. We're mostly black and orange. Cory's airplane. So, but yep, it's got the IN number though. 371 Romeo Juliet on there. And that is, what I understand, that is Cory's IN number. We're just going to continue to taxi out here. Like I said, if you see a nameplate up in the sky, so right there, so Bugler 412, that is another human in the game here flying with us. Come down here and just do a little run up, check carb heat, magnetos, check that prop, make sure it has good oil to it and all that, and then we will be off for our little adventure here, which is this little roundabout flight, checking out some of the history in the area here in the Salt Lake City area. But we are really going to be focused more around the lake. There's a lot of obviously history and stuff up in these mountains, but I'll probably do some other flights with that, with some of the other flying cowboys. There's some other YouTube videos out there that are real good that I might then use them as inspiration and recreate those videos, but in Microsoft Flight Sim. I've really enjoyed actually doing this. So all right, let's get over here and let's do a run up over here, get out of the way in case somebody else comes through. Get in sequence, I guess you could say. And we'll just do a come over here, just do a little run up. So let's go ahead and get in the cockpit. Yeah, that's all right here. Apply some of the brakes, put the parking brakes on. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the power here. All right, so everything looks good, oil pressure looks good and all of this. Let's go ahead and come over here. Let's check the magnetos. Yep, got about a 50 RPM drop. That's good. Let it go back. Another drop. Yep, another drop. Not too bad. You don't want more than about 100 RPMs, 150 RPMs. All right, let's go ahead and also here. All right, start to see a lead increase in temperature. Let's go ahead and enrichen that. So we had it just about where we wanted it. And let's go over here and just cycle the prop. Should see an RPM drop. We should also see changes in fuel flow and also changes in oil pressure when we do that. And you can see to get an oil drop. The reason being is taking oil from the engine and actually putting it into the propeller to change the pitch of the propeller. So we'll go ahead and get that set for takeoff, and then I've actually got a button here, so we'll just pull the carb heat, see a drop there, and carb heat looks good there too. So we're all set to go. So let's go ahead and come to idle, and let's go ahead and take off here from South Valley, and let's go on our flight. Like I said, a little bit longer flight tonight, so here we go. Now it's a new airplane for us here, so if you're wondering about that lever that you can see in the upper left, that lever right there is actually the flap lever. It's mechanical flaps. So, all right, South Valley traffic. Black and white Super Cub taking off. I don't even know what runway this is. Runway 34, South Valley. Here we go. Even though this isn't Ghost, this isn't Cory's airplane, this thing is still pretty nice rocket ship, nice bush plane, stock like this. So, and I'm gonna throw in some flaps, a little bit of pitch right at the stall. Oh, a little bit. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pit trim is all trim. Blanco Lira would say trim. There we go. And bringing up the flaps. And away we go. Now we do have the airspace of Salt Lake City International right in front of us here. So we're going to climb up here just to about 1,000 feet. There we go. Here we are, leaving South Valley Airport. And we're going to head over here about 40 degrees. And just make sure we don't get into the airspace for the international airport. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be flying across the Great Salt Lake. You can kind of see an island just to the right of the nose there. That's Antelope Island. Nice state park out there, which is home to free roam bison and deer and I think pronghorn sheep and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, everything's looking real good here on our climb out already. We can go ahead and just go ahead and check and see how we're doing here. Let's go ahead and come back on the manifold pressure and let's come back on the prop a little bit. To about 2,500 RPMs. There we go. Like it? Nice, easy climb out here as we take a look at Greater Salt Lake City and stuff. Back to the south of us. That's down by Provo. Down by Provo. That's I think it's Spanish Forks Airport. That's the home of I think Mark Patey and all that with Draco. With their amazing bush plane down there. But we are going to climb out. We got the shadow here, so let's go ahead and start to pitch over here. We're plenty high enough. We're going to go ahead and start to pitch over. We don't need to get real high here for this flight. All right, trim. There we go. We got some nice trim set up here. Looking pretty good. All right, for this part, I'm going to go ahead and tell the autopilot that we're here. So now the autopilot should hold us at 6,400 feet. So we're probably going to go into a little bit of a descent here, pick up some speed as the autopilot corrects there. And going to go ahead and go on heading mode. Oop, there we go. All right, so that makes it a little bit easier for us to chat here now that we're up just as a nice, easy, out here in Salt Lake City, it's pretty easy. Over here, pretty neat. Over here is the Bingham copper mine up in this mountain. We'll be seeing that on our return. But then we also got Morton Salt. Yeah, just like the big thing of Morton Salt. They've got I guess you call it a factory out here for Morton Salt. But most of that mountain over there is all copper mine stuff. One of the biggest copper mines in the world and stuff. But like I said, we'll be flying directly over that on our return later this evening. So, but yeah, you can see Antelope Island out there, just off the right nose. We'll be passing over that, taking a look, and then we'll be cutting across the Great Salt Lake. And one of the reasons why we got to cut across the Great Salt Lake instead of just flying right through is because I'm recreating Cory's flight, and there's basically two restricted. We'll be talking about these restricted air zones that are around to the west of Salt Lake City, and those are restricted, military restricted. So, Aurelia, hello, Aurelia. Thumbs up because you are amazing. And so yeah, so we'll be talking about that, but we'll be using VFR and Dead Reckoning and all that kind of stuff. If you're interested, let me go ahead and show you here as we're just kind of flying out. So we just took off right here from South Valley. We're going over here to the shore, and then we're going to go up through Antelope Island, and then cut across to this railroad. Then we're going to take this railroad, follow this railroad to the west. But you can see this big restricted airspace. We're going to be going around, making a loop around that restricted airspace tonight. That is what we are going to be doing. So, yep, absolutely. That's what the plan is. So we're excited about that. So, alrighty. So let's. What am I doing? Oh, there we go. So yeah, you can. This is mostly all copper mine smelters. It's such a huge copper mine that it's got, you know, the smelters and stuff for all the ore coming off the mountain and stuff like that down here onto the Great Salt Lake. Then out over there where you see those, where you see Mad Ward and all that, that is Salt Lake City International Airport. But we're, like I said, we're going to stay out of their airspace. So we are going to now go ahead, and since we're on the shoreline here, we're going to go ahead and start making a turn toward Antelope Island and the Great Salt Lake. Now, the way that Flight Sim has modeled this here, it shows like a whole lot more water than there may or may not be. We'll be talking about some of the interesting things that you can see on this flight. So, but yeah. Oh, you're flying from Vegas to Oklahoma City, so from McCarran to, I'm not even sure what, I guess Oklahoma City International. And it'll go through southern Utah? Yeah, okay, great, absolutely. Well, yeah, over the, probably Grand Canyon and all that kind of stuff too. But here we are, so we've got everything's looking good on the engine. Let's just go ahead and, we can go ahead and add, so we can go full throttle on there, and then I'll let the prop settle in still at 2,500 RPMs. There we go. So we're doing pretty good. We got a true airspeed of 116 knots as we head out here to Antelope Island. Antelope Island, north of Salt Lake City. It's a state park, and it has, like I said, has free roaming bison and pronghorn sheep and all that kind of stuff. So it's really a neat place. And like I said, what I have done here is you can see all of these other now players in my area that we can see. Somebody pretty close to us, this DBJ716. Actually, that's not a player. That is a real time flight going into the area. So that's not a player. Their gamer tags are above. So you got Mad Wards 28. Bugler 412, Lazy Lawrence. I would imagine they see Uncle Mike above me. But yeah, this is real time here, and this is the Great Salt Lake where we're coming up on Antelope Island. Once we really get to cross the Great Salt Lake here, then we'll have some fun because we can get out here into the dry lake bed. And that's that side of the Great Salt Lake on the west side, and maybe we can go ahead and do some, we'll do a landing and stuff in the Great Salt Lake, and then look at some of the other landmarks. There's a lot of landmarks out here that we can go explore. So, all right, one of the other things that I am going to do here is bring up the menu here and set up display, no, main menu. Right here, I think it is. Yep. More options. Weather vector, heading and crosswind. So we've got this. Now it looks like we've got just a crosswind out of the west here. So synthetic vision is on. I really don't need any. Yeah, I'll turn on the bearing. So the first one that we'll do would be GPS, and bearing number 1 or number 2 would be nav 1. So there we go. So that's looking good. And now we're back to the map. Let's go ahead and zero it in on ourselves. We got ADS-B data on here, so when we look at the map, we can also see the other airplanes that are in our vicinity. Most of these are probably commercial, going in and out of Salt Lake City International. Again, I'm not a real big fan of the commercial flights. Oh, your flight's real real time too. That's cool. Yeah, that's amazing. But here we are passing over Antelope Island. There's a historic ranch on the other side over there, just off the right wingtip. And then, but the park and most of the campground stuff's over here on the north end. Once we get there, then we'll start our turn to cross the Great Salt Lake and intercept the railroad. The railroad itself is pretty interesting, so I'll talk about that once we get there. Oh, Lazy Lawrence is flying that really cool looking Diamond 62, that twin engine. That's what Lazy Lawrence is flying. B350, that Boeing something 350. I guess that's what B350 is. And then it looks like Airbus 320 over there, the Neo one. Somebody's flying. Looks like Mad Word is sitting in a Cirrus, I think. So yeah, you see their altitude and you see what airplane they're flying. So, but there we are. So yeah, we're just coming up here on Antelope Island, looking good. Everything's looking good here. We're just sitting here under autopilot, making it easy on ourselves for now. Like I said, Cory Robin, who we're recreating his flight, one of his YouTube flights. You can actually go down the description and watch actually Cory's flight, where he goes out. He actually visited artwork that we're going to go do the same thing. We're going to land by and we're going to talk about and all that. And you can look it up on the interweb if you want to see what it really looks like. But there's a lot of history out here in the west of Salt Lake City, a lot of history that I didn't know of. And so again, I knew about Antelope Island here in the state park and the animals that free roam on it, because you know it's Great Salt Lake around. That's the fence. So, but then the railroad that will intercept, that's got a lot of history. There's we're going to be basically flying right basically over the Bonneville Salt Flats, where they do all the high-speed land records and all that kind of stuff. But all around there is the restricted airspace for bombing and a lot of other military stuff that, again, I didn't know that happened out there. So, but here we go, beautiful Antelope Island. You'll start to see the roads and stuff of the state park off here, off just the right of the nose. So yeah, everything is looking real good. The flight's looking good. I've got the charts up over here that I'll just look at to make sure that I point out things that I know of. But that's one of the things that's amazing here about. Oh, okay. Oh, you're using a 747-200. Yeah, that's a little not old school, but that's old school. Pan Am's definitely old school. Yeah, I'm in a modern Cub Crafter X-Cub here, so. That's one of the things I just really enjoy about live streaming Microsoft Flight Sim, even though, like I said, I'm really a gamer and I really like, you know, the games on Xbox. But one of the amazing things here about this Flight Sim is how it is literally, to me, it's Google Earth. So you can learn about things, what it looks like from the air, and then go and fly over there and look at them. And I will be what do you want to call it, upgrading to an Xbox Series X and also a 4K TV here sometime in, you know, the September-October time frame. And so then we really should have some pretty, you know, an upgrade in the visuals and the graphics. So I'm looking forward to that in the future. But yeah, now you can actually start to see Antelope Island. We can put on the knockers here and look in, so you can kind of see now the roads. That's the causeway to get onto Antelope Island from the northern Salt Lake City area, and then the campgrounds that they've got here. So, like I said, the free roaming bison and pronghorn sheep and all of that. So, all right, we are going to start to make a turn here now, more to the west. Start to fly across the Great Salt Lake, and we are going to go intercept the railroad out here. And again, one of the reasons why we're taking this route is because we've got this military restricted airspace that we need to avoid. So, and one of the other things though that we can do is we really don't need to be this high. So we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and descend down. Let's just go even 6,000 here. So let's just go ahead and start a slight descent here to 6,000 feet. You did? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know about Antelope Island, but I've never been to Antelope Island. So I've been to Salt Lake City and all that, which, like I said, I will show you why I know about Cory, Robin, and all this once we're done with our flight. Because like I said, the flight's a little bit long. We'll have some breaks, even some in-air breaks, because we've got a little bit of distance to travel here. But we've got some good ground speed going here in our little X-Cub, 124 knots, true airspeed. I could set up a waypoint to one of the places that we're going, which is just a VOR out in the middle of nowhere, and it's got an old airport out in the middle of nowhere, and I'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, there's Lazy Lawrence out there in his Diamond 62 twin engine. He's still climbing up. And then some other people. There goes Boogler with his B350. I don't even know what that is, so. Oh, well, doing paint. Now that right there is amazing. Yeah, it'd be a beautiful place for inspiration and all that. Not just the landscape, but just to be out there in nature. Aunt Cindy and I, we get out there in nature too. We have got our little teardrop camper. So I really like gaming. It's my main hobby. Obviously, I like live streaming and all that. But yeah, sometimes you need some in real life getaway and inspiration and all that kind of stuff. And so maybe in the future I might even kind of link real world to like these flights and actually go visit some of these airports or try to meet some of these pilots that I'm recreating their flights. So yeah, that's amazing, Aurelia. A whole month out there. What kind of season was it? Were you out there in the, was it, winter? Well, I would think winter, that would be pretty tough, but like spring or fall or something like that, or summer. So you can kind of see right off the nose there that you can kind of see the graphic kind of filling in with like little flicker and all that. That's actually the railroad that crosses the Great Salt Lake. I think it's called the Lucin Switch? Lucin Cutoff? That's what it's called. I think it's called the Lucin Cutoff, based on the little town. It goes from, I think, Ogden, Utah, across the Salt Lake to a little town that's no longer there anymore, because the town doesn't need to be there because of all the improvements of railroad technology. But there was a town there, Lucin, and that's also where the little old airport is at that we will be going to explore. So, but yep, you can actually now start to see the railroad. It was this railroad that it's not modeled in Flight Sim, but it was a 12-mile long trestle causeway, and then they replaced it with a complete earthen embankment. So the current railroad tracks are on an earthen embankment, which basically almost kind of effectively makes like a dam across the Great Salt Lake. So if you look at pictures of the Great Salt Lake, there's different colors because it stops the sediment, this earthen embankment that the railroad is on. But so that's kind of part of the neat history that's out here, is this cutoff where they actually made the railroad literally cut across, rather than the original railroad, which was north of the Great Salt Lake. You had to bypass it. So yeah, I would imagine, this far north with latitudes, you would probably have a very nice summer. I would imagine it's beautiful. What is the outside air temperature telling us right now? It is telling us the outside air temperature. Well, this one doesn't. I don't even know where the. It's getting a reading, but it's not up on the avionics. Usually it tells us temperature right down over here on the other glass cockpits. Exhaust gas temp. Look. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't remember what it was on the ATIS when we listened to it. So, but I imagine it's beautiful though out in summertime. When I was out there most recently, it was in the February time frame, so it was cold, snow on the ground. But yep, now you can actually start to see the railroad. You can actually see where the earthen embankment. 48 Fahrenheit? Okay, gotcha. You can actually start to see, you'll see where the railroad makes a joggle, and that's where I think they replaced the part that was a wooden trestle with the earthen embankment. So, yeah. So the railroad, you can see the railroad out there also, and the embankment. So that's the railroad cutting across right through our spars there, and those are all, I think, ways that they keep the you know, trap the salt and all that in the water so that the silt comes in, probably fills it in. So I think that's probably you know, has to do with Morton Salt Company and all that kind of stuff. But yep, now we're coming up here onto the railroad tracks. This is going to be our first landmark, if you remember from here. So we are, where is my, there it is, my cursor. So we are coming right up here. We're going to intercept. You can see the joggle even that the railroad makes. And we're going to follow this railroad up to this little, the VOR here of Lucin up here. There's things I want to talk about and show you up here in the Lucin area. So that is what we are doing here. Oh, I want to check. Do I have? Yeah, I have got. I remembered to put in the sound into the second monitor here. So very good. All right, now we're back. Cool. All right, so you're going through northwestern Arizona. So yeah, that's over there northwest. You're like over Kingman. Is that where you're out of Kingman? You probably maybe using Drake VOR out of Prescott, something like that maybe. So. Colorado, Kansas. Okay, yep, understand. All right, so here we are. Here is the railroad. There's the first joggle that I was talking about. I would imagine that this right here was where the old trestle went across, and then they built the new embankment for the current railroad. But once we get over here, we'll have some fun here on the railroad. Nobody out here, you know. This is uncontrolled airspace. We can go ahead and let's go ahead and come off the power. Let's get on the sticks. Start descent. Let's go ahead and follow these railroad tracks here. Have a little fun down low. So one thing about this X-Cub is it's got it's a lot of fun. It's got great performance, but it's not fast. It's not fast, not at all. So, all right. So you're in Utah now. So you cut the corner. Is that what you did? You kind of cut the corner. Yeah. Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me. Yeah, this should be live weather, so here it's very nice. All right, so here we go. Now we'll just bring the power back in here. Just fly down the railroad tracks here. So this is, I think, like I said, I think it's called the Lucin Cutoff. Because basically it cut off a bunch of miles rather than going the old railroad where it had to go over the north side of the Great Salt Lake. This cut off that. So, all right, trim. There we go. A little bit of trim going here. Yeah. Just follow these railroad tracks. Of course, the flight sim that adds in like trees and all this kind of stuff because it really doesn't. It's the AI that that's doing it and stuff, so on. So, but this is just railroad tracks. We'll follow these across the Great Salt Lake here. Oh, that nice Zion. That's a beautiful park. Did the river trail at Zion with my mother back in the day, back when I was back in my ute. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead. This is kind of not eventful here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot. Let it do some work here, so that way we can chat and have a good time as we just fly right down here. Right down the, I'm not even sure what the railroad is, like who owns it right now. But here we are just flying right down the old railroad, crossing the Great Salt Lake. And so with that, I am going to go ahead and check and make sure everything's looking good on the engines. Everything is looking good, I like it. Let's check fuel. Fuel looks good. Fuel looks good. And so yeah, so I will be back. Enjoy the flight here for just a little bit. I'm going to turn some music on just for a little bit until we get to the shore here that is straight ahead for just a few minutes. So I will talk to you in just a bit. So like I said, go ahead and enjoy the music. All right, well, I'm back here as we're just approaching the shore. And yeah, that would be great, a comic. Takes a character across the country. So like, just like a, like van life or flying or, you know, travel or kind of, like what's, you know, like the story, I guess, you know, I guess is what I'm asking. But yeah, it sounds amazing. I don't have that kind of artistic talent or skill to make a comic. I would have to use some type of program or something like that. So all right, well, here we are now. We've crossed over. It's really still, I think, considered the Great Salt Lake over here, because, or actually maybe this is the shore. We're actually crossing into the shore because we're going to actually be passing by something that's fairly interesting out here a little bit later as we just continue to follow these railroad tracks here as we head west. So here comes the railroad tracks again. They've made a little joggle toward us, so we'll just intercept them and then fly down. But since we've got some, let's see, what's the wind doing? Let's see here. The wind is on the nose. Actually, it's just a little bit of a crosswind, so the wind's coming from right there. So all right, let's go. Let's have some fun here. Autopilot off. Let's go ahead and climb up. Let's go ahead and land right here on this salt flat out here. Why? Because we can. That's why we're in a bush plane. All right. Put in a notch of flaps. We'll put in another notch of flaps. A little bit of power. We're going to land just on the other side of the railroad tracks there. You see that real stark line there just off the nose. All right, full flaps. Here we go. Yeah, let's see, we're not worried about lined up on a runway, so let's go ahead and do kind of a wingman view here, huh? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's take it to the stall. Let's take it to the stall. Oh, a little bit of bounce. There we go. I'll bring the flaps up. Keep us on the ground. There we go. Welcome to a dry lake bed. Welcome to a dry lake bed in Utah. There we go, huh? So now what we can do is we can come over here, and the reason why I was going to actually do this is because we are going to go ahead and set a waypoint here, and the waypoint is LUC, I think. No, that's not what it is. It is LCU. Roger that. LCU. There we go. And so let's go ahead and activate that as direct. There we go. So now we've got a waypoint of where we're going next, which is the area of Lucin, I think is how it's pronounced. So all right, well, let's go ahead and get back in the air here. I'll catch up on chat as soon as I get back up in the air. But let's go ahead and power. And a little bit of nose down. Airspeed's alive. And let's go ahead and pop it off the ground. Stay in ground effect. And flaps come up, and let's go ahead and now make our turn to go direct here. So now we have a waypoint to go direct toward. Which is really going to be following the same railroad tracks. So we can actually, maybe we'll climb up here a little bit, get a little bit height so we can see a little better here. So as I'm climbing out here, I'm going to go ahead and trim, oops, wrong button. Trim. There we go. Nice climb out here. Let's see what we've got here on the old dial. So 600, 700 foot per minute climb as there's the railroad tracks again. As we climb out. Everything is looking good. Trim, trim, trim. Just getting it set up here. A little bit too much down trim. All right, on our way here to Lucerne. So, all right, you meant to say that your character goes across the Atlantic Ocean on the SS America. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we're actually cruise ship cruisers. So yeah, that would be a fun and amazing read and all that kind of stuff. And of course, comics and graphic novels are very popular. A lot of people don't know that so many of the shows these days that we watch actually came from either comics or graphic novels and stuff like that. So, all right, let's take a look here. How's the fuel looking up there? Yeah, we burnt some fuel on that side. We haven't burnt anything on that side, so let's go ahead and change it to the right. Burn some fuel off the right side. There we go. So you can see now that we've kind of wrapped around, here's more of the Great Salt Lake. So we'll go ahead and just keep climbing up here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got going on here. And we'll come up to 5,500 feet, level off. And again, just following the railroad tracks here right off the nose. Go ahead and start to trim up here for 5,500. Sometimes it's really difficult because you don't have a feel for the trim, right? And so it's all just visual for the trim. So it's a little difficult sometimes to get the trim set up on this. But I'm going to go ahead and get everything squared away, and there we go. And go ahead and turn on the autopilot here. Now we can relax a little bit and see more of the scenery here of the Great Salt Lake. Yes, Salt Lake City, Utah. Actually, since we have that waypoint, we can also go ahead and on the GPS we can turn on nav mode. And that way it will just follow our direct waypoint here. That way we can chat, we can talk about some interesting things. There's some interesting things coming up here. Let's see if we can turn on the knockers. And so you see this like canal that's literally like right below us here. It really starts like right there off the nose. So right off the nose up there, we're going to pass right over it. We'll take a good look at it. But right up there, this was actually one of the Great Salt Lake pumping stations. I think it was like in the 80s. Somebody had an idea of, hey, you know, what's going to happen if the Great Salt Lake gets too much water, I guess, and it starts to overfill. We're going to have a lot of flooding and stuff, right? Because it's so low and all of this. And so the idea then was, hey, let's get these pumping stations that you could actually, if we needed to, you could actually pump the water out of the Great Salt Lake for flooding, you know, purposes and all of this. Well, I think what happened was, as soon as they did that, like the next year there was like a drought, and so the lake's been low, and so they literally were abandoned just a few years after their creation, but or their building. But so like right down, it's not, I don't think they even have a building modeled for it, but like right there I think is where the pumping station would be, and I think there was 3 of them around the lakes. So very interesting. You know, this is one of the things I just thoroughly enjoy about Microsoft Flight Simulator. So to Microsoft Flight Sim devs, to the Asobo, you know, AI devs and all this kind of stuff, amazing work to actually have something so fun that if you're into aviation, great, but to me it's actually about exploring the world. And so it's just, like I said, it's Google Earth, but just you get to explore with airplanes. So now that we've got a waypoint set in, we can actually also see how we're doing. So we're 113 knots, 114 almost over the ground, so pretty respectable for indicated of 105 and a true of 121. We've got 33 miles to our destination, so it's going to take us here about another, it's saying we're going to arrive at 5:36. Do I even have a clock on this thing? TMR, local time, yeah, 6:56. Why does that say then 17:32? Or maybe that's estimated time en route. Oh, okay, that's timing it down. So that's how many. So we got 17 minutes to get there. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. See, like, what is that? You know, what is that down there? You know, you kind of like, what? Is that like some type of, you know, old, I don't know, is it a road? Maybe it's a road. But there's our, over there is our railroad that we're just following up to Lucin. Once we get to Lucin, there's some interesting things going on. So basically this is where we're at. I will show this here to you. This is where we're at right now. So we're just flying up the railroad here, coming up into Lucin. This is our waypoint that we're going to direct to, and then we'll fly around we'll fly around the restricted area. But yeah, not much out here, but there is. Lucin has got a lot of history and stuff out here. There's also some artwork that we're going to land and check out that Cory did in his video. So yeah, it's there's a lot of cool stuff out here that we'll be able to talk about. But for right now, we're just got we still got about what, 15 minutes or so. Yep, 16 minutes till we get out there. So I'm going to go ahead and take another just stretch break. As if you know, in the real world, I've got an issue with my back, and so standing up and stretching and all that really does help me. So we're going to do the same thing. And so yep, enjoy the flight, enjoy the music, and I'll be back here in a little bit as we cross here this dry lake bed on the way to Lucin, Utah. I don't think we've crossed into Nevada yet. So but yep, I will be back. So enjoy the music, enjoy the flight. All right, I'm back here in the cockpit with you. Not sure what these formations are. Well, they're buildings. Not really sure why there's buildings out here in the middle of nowhere, but the AI decided to put buildings out here. Not really sure why that is. Hey, I'll just go ahead. I was listening to music along with you. You switch headphones. There we are. So we are now coming up here on Lucin. You can see it down here on our GPS map here. 02 Utah here. We are coming up. Oh, we got somebody, probably an airliner, probably way up high on ADSB. I don't see him out there anywhere. Down low. We'll wait and see if they pop up, if they're a player or something like that. But yeah, we're coming up on Lucin, right over this mountain here. And Lucin has got a lot of things going for it. That's very interesting. One of the things, actually, I am going to go ahead and start to deviate here just a little bit more to the west as we get to Lucin here. There we go. See if the formations, or see if you can actually see this on Google Earth from the airplane. But Lucin is the town where we've talked about the railroad that went across the Great Salt Lake. But it's also that cutoff, that Lucin cutoff was the cutoff to shorten the length to go right across the lake. But there's another railroad that come in from the northeast, and there are old railroad grades for that road, and that is actually the original grade for the Transcontinental Railroad. And so this was part of where the west and the central actually linked up as they were coming from the west and then the central block to connect the Transcontinental Railroad. That actually comes through Lucin. And so those there's a road out there now. I think it's called like the Transcontinental Grade Road or something like that. So I was going to come out here, deviate a little bit here, and see if we can actually see that road out here before we go down here to Lucin and the airport that's down here, because that airport is really, really interesting. It's got some modern day neat factoids to it. Yeah, you can actually see it. I think that stark line right there going, you see that stark line? That's the old grade for the old Transcontinental Railroad that came through here. That is amazing. And then out there is the little airport, so let's go ahead and we can reset if you want to, just so we have it, so we can reset our direct, activate direct. We can then go nav mode, just let the autopilot now take us through the turn. And so yeah, there was this old town out here of Lucin out here, and then back in the war and stuff, an airport was made and all this, and the airport was eventually abandoned. And so then the neat thing about this is like I said, we'll fly over here to the airport. It's just a couple miles here, so we've got 4 miles off the nose. And we'll do maybe a touch and go, but it's actually a private airport. It's completely fenced in. There is our VOR. There's a VOR on site of this airport. That is the Lucin VOR. But the really, really, really neat thing about this airport that we're going to, it's right over here, just off at like 1 o'clock. Just over the wings there. There you can see the airport and the one building that's on it. And that's what it is. That airport now is privately owned by one guy, and that guy is, I believe he pronounced his name Ivo Sendarski. He's a Czechoslovakian guy, and he's the guy who made his own ultralight airplane and flew it out of communist Czechoslovakia when there was the Berlin Wall and communism and all that kind of stuff. He flew it back, I think, 1984 at night, flew over it, and then he obviously came to the States here, started making propellers and stuff. I think he lived in California is where he eventually ended up. And then in like, I don't know, 2009 or so, he bought this land and this airport. And so he lives out here in a hangar, still makes aviation stuff and all that, but this is now his private airport right here. So I didn't call for extra permission to land here, so I just wanted you to know that, to see that. But you can look him up. The guy who made his own airplane, you know, back in to fly over the Berlin Wall, if you want to call it, but you know, to defect. So there, right off the nose, there's the VOR. That's the Lucerne VOR. You can see the old lines and stuff for the old runway and all that. But there's his house. There's his hangar house. He has a Cessna 172. He flies out of here, either north up into I don't know what's north of us here, right? Idaho, Montana, right? So yeah, to get supplies and all that, because he is out here in the middle of nowhere. But you can see all the roads and stuff. It was all using the old runways and stuff that they use and all that kind of stuff. The old airstrip. And then off the nose up here is the old town of Lucerne. But I want to go show you something else. So we need to move. I need to figure it out. Oh, there's an old. Okay, I remember that. So let's go in the cockpit. Let's come off autopilot. And I am now going to look for another landmark. But we need to head south here. Come off the power a little. Trim. All right, so there is a little agricultural field. I don't know if he's done that or if that's left over when the town of Lucerne was actually here. But there's where I want to go. It's right over here. We're gonna go ahead and start a descent. And then we're gonna land. We're gonna land out here in the middle of nowhere. And talk about something here. Like I said, we got to keep out of this restricted airspace, and I'm going to honor that as if it was a real world flight. So all right, that beep is just telling me that I'm way below what I had the autopilot altitude set for, my target altitude. All right, let's see what the wind's doing here. Wind is real light, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm gonna land where it seems like I've got this road I can land in, but you can kind of see there's like a makeshift runway maybe right here at the 45. So that's where we're gonna land at. And if you look, you can see there's like a road right down in here. This is where we're gonna land. So yeah, we're basically on downwind now. See our shadow, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna bring in a notch of flaps. And another notch of flaps. Since we're kind of a beam the tower here on our downwind. Let's just go ahead and come out here and get set up so we know exactly what we want to look at on our approach. All right, let's go ahead and start our 180 downwind to final. Here we go. All right, full flaps. Kind of that light colored where we want to land. Yeah, right down in here. Looking good. I like it. Stall awarded. Nice. Nice. There we go. Let's hold it back. Apply the brakes. All right. So welcome to the middle of nowhere, just south of Lucin. Let's go ahead and get it stopped. Go ahead and put the parking brakes on. I am now going to go ahead and bring out the the drone camera. So here we are. Now if you look, you see this right here? Embedded in the kind of like the photo from the aerial image. There we are. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that fine looking airplane right there. But you see that? See that shape? These are the sun tunnels of Utah. You can look it up. They're these big concrete tunnels or tubes that are laying out here in the middle of nowhere, lined up with the sun. They've got holes drilled in them so you can get inside and you can look up and you can sight the constellations and certain stars and all of that at night. In Cory's video, he goes out there and he actually sees them. So if you're interested in that, like I said, the actual flight that I'm recreating, you can click on the link in the description and actually see Cory, Robin, and Ghost in his Cub landing out here. And actually, he spends the night out here. That's pretty cool. But there we are. Those are the sun tunnels right there. All right, let's go ahead and what do we want to do here? Oh, we want to go ahead and get out of drone camera, put that away. Let's jump back into the cockpit. Go ahead and bring the flaps up. Let's go ahead and spin this thing around. All right, and let's get out of here as we continue our recreation of Cory Robin's flight out here in the desert art of Utah. Airspeed's alive, and let's go ahead and notch your flaps, get it off the ground, stay in ground effect. Everything's looking good. Bring the flaps in. All right, so now out here to our west, we've got this, our south, we've got that restricted area, so we're going to go ahead and stay away from that. We are going to head out here a little bit more west here. So let's go ahead and just get on the other side of this mountain range, right off the nose here. Let's go and let the airplane accelerate. Flaps are up, everything's looking good. We can stay low and have some fun here. But yeah, we need to get on the back side here. We need to reconnect with our yeah, what am I trying to say? Our railroad. Alright, got a nice trim set up here. I'm just hand flying it with the controller now. So out over in this area where we're flying now was actually the town of Lucin. But we need to go around this mountain range right here, because really the restricted zone pretty much kind of goes up to that mountain range, and actually on the back side of it too, but we'll just go on the back side of it and have some fun. Maybe do some backcountry low-level flying and all this kind of stuff. There are roads out here. I mean, there's a whole other thing, like down off the left wingtip, down there on this side of Pilot Mountain, there is Donner Springs. And yes, that is the same Donner from the Donner Party. So this is the area where the Oregon, they actually tried to do a different route than the Oregon Trail, and so that's brought them, this way, down south here and all of this. But yeah, there's a springs down there that they supposedly went to, so that's why it's called Donner Springs. Very cool, amazing stuff out here. Just amazing out in this part of the, the west of the United States. Just so much history and just amazing. Okay, we can cut the corner here. I've got the VFR charts over here, so we can definitely cut the corner here. Get on the back side of this mountain range here. Yeah, so far great flight, great recreation of the flight. Like I said, you can click down. I have a link down to Cory's YouTube channel, and also have a link to the specific video that I'm recreating his flight. Doesn't have as much information about the history and all this. My video, my live stream here, I gotta fly the whole thing. I'm not editing it or anything like that. So according to the VFR chart, somewhere over here is a microwave tower. I don't know if we'll really be able to, if the AI will actually put a microwave tower. Might be on the top of that taller mountain up there. It looks like that might be where it's at actually. But we'll reconnect with our, yeah, this back over here, back behind in the tail here and back over there, that was where the actual town of Lucin that actually had people where to support the railroad operations and stuff. So that's actually the town of Lucin back in the day. Yep, no worries, I understand. Definitely looks like a service road right there, doesn't it? Going up the mountain here. Yeah, looking good. Over right there is where the actual microwave tower is. Doesn't model it though for us, so in the game. Alright, let's drop down here. Yep, now we're just on the backside of Pilot Mountain. Coming up here, see if we can pick up our railroad again. Actually, well, we won't pick up the railroad. We'll kind of just follow the mountain range here. And get down low. Very cool. So obviously the AI picks up on some builds, probably some ranches and all kinds of stuff out here. We'll have some fun. We got plenty of fuel, so I'm not worried about fuel flow. I'm not worried about really leaning anything out here. Because we're still a mile high. Oh, somebody's ranch. I am just, like I said, flying with the controller here. Yoo-hoo! Beautiful, just beautiful. Amazing. Looking forward to this, actually seeing if, I haven't actually tried it, but I'm pretty sure there's weather in the game. I know there's weather, I mean like rain, snow and stuff, but I wonder if you, as we just go through the season, I mean those real time, so you know, have to almost come back out here when it's winter time and see what it looks like, see if it, you know, adds, you know, snow and stuff like that. So, woo! Man, this is amazing. All right, I'm going to climb up here. Get some altitude. All right, let it pitch on over, accelerate. Now we got some altitude. Get the autopilot back on for just a cruise. We got to cruise down this valley because on the other side here is restricted area. I'll talk about this restricted area here in a little bit, because it has history too. All right. Whoa, 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 wrong button. All right, there we go. We are back. We're on heading mode. We're on altitude mode at 5,800 feet, so that's nice. Everything's looking good. And we're just flying over here. And let's go ahead and use what they've given us here. And we are now heading down to Wendover. So Wendover is right here, not West Wendover. We want Wendover. We'll probably, maybe if we do that, we'll probably cut through a little bit of the restricted area, but shh. But we'll go ahead and put it in. Yes, this is the one that we want right here. So we'll just go ahead and do direct. We'll go ahead and activate that, so at least it shows up, but we're still on heading mode, so I'm not too worried about it. But now at least we've got a waypoint on the map. So let me go ahead and clear the nearest now. There we go. And so now we've got, there is where we're heading to next. So where you can see we're just kind of going around this mountain ridge here, which we need to do. So I am going to take another little stretch break here as we just kind of fly this heading here around Pilot Mountain, and then I'll be back. So enjoy the music again, and I will be right back. All right, I am back with you here, back in the cockpit. Listen to music too, so let me change my headphones. That way I can hear the airplane noise. There we go. But we are coming up on Wendover. And that is still actually in Utah, even though I think now we are actually in Nevada. But we are coming up over this ridge here, so let's go ahead and get the autopilot off. Trim, trim, trim. And kind of get low here. Check this. Check this. Yeah, 500. Trim, trim, trim. But Wendover has got a lot of history at it and around it, and a lot of neat things. So we're gonna head over there. We're gonna go ahead and do a full stop landing there, talk a little bit, and then get back in the air and head back towards South Valley Airport back in Utah. So that is what we are doing here. Trim, trim, trim. Yep, the ground is kind of coming up to meet us here, so that happens every once in a while. But we're looking good. Right around 100 knots. A little bit of a climb here as the ground is coming up to meet us. Again, I cannot say enough about, if you're interested in flying, the Microsoft Flight Simulator, even here on the Xbox consoles, is just absolutely amazing. Let's go ahead and kind of cut through this. I don't want to get too much into a climb here, but we've got enough speed here. We can cut through this little valley right here. Oh, there was more of a climb than I thought. Ooh, hoo, hoo, yeah! Oh yeah! And then boom! There is the town of Wendover. And there's the airport right off the nose. There's the runway we're going to land at right there. I think it's runway 12 is what we're going to do. So we're just landing straight in here for runway 12. Yeah. Come off the power here. So I think this is actually the town of Wendover and West Wendover. I'm not really sure. Maybe this is just Wendover. All right, let's go ahead and get set up for landing here. Trim, trim, trim. And first notch of flaps. And second notch of flaps. Then just like Cory did in real life, we are actually going to put it down into the grass actually before the runway threshold. Winds are pretty light. See if we can recreate what Cory did. Just gotta watch out for these trees at the end of the runway. Landed a little faster than Cory. So we're gonna sneak on to the threshold here. A little longer, a little faster than Cory. I think the wind might not be in our favor also. So there we are. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 180 here. All right, so welcome to Wendover, Utah. Maybe saying, okay, what's the big deal here about Wendover, Utah? Well, I'll break out the drone again. And the interesting thing about Wendover is you'll be able to see that this is a big military base. Ex-military base. So we're just gonna come up here, get out of the way. We'll be able to sneak out right back out this runway again and get back in the air once we're done with our little let's just get over here on the tarmac here, show you some sights and sounds. Got some weird modeling here with taxi lights, you know, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Do a 180 around this taxi light here. All right, we'll do it right on the taxi light. All right, put the parking brake on. Get the drone up. Show you this. Let me get the drone speed fast here. We're gonna get high and fast with this drone. So there we are. Here is Wendover. If we with the drone, if we go way up, you can see how this was a big base. And the reason why this is a big base is because this is where the 509th Composite Wing for the U.S. basically Army Air Corps, this is where they trained out here to drop the bombs on Japan, the nuclear bombs on Japan. So this hangar right here, if you look down on it, you can see that there's a hangar picture. There's not one modeled right there, but right below us here, that's actually the Enola Gay hangar. That is supposedly where the Enola Gay was before it started its flight over the Pacific and stuff to drop the bomb on Hiroshima. So you can actually see like the barracks of the buildings and stuff, you know, they form like T's and E's and stuff. Those are just the base housing and stuff. But that's what Wendover, you know, has. So that is absolutely, that's amazing. But you can definitely see how this was a base. And then, so this restricted areas that we've been flying, so there's gonna be one now to our south, but the restricted area up there that we already flew around, up there is Lucerne and stuff. That's actually, like I said, where they did a lot of, you know, flight training. They did a lot of, there's restricted where they did a lot of bombing stuff down here. A lot of the restricted air zone that's airspace that's in the direction I'm looking here is actually for chemical warfare and stuff testing. So a lot of stuff going out here in the Utah desert. So let's go ahead and get the drone back and let's go ahead and tidy it up. Let's get back in the cockpit. Let's go ahead and let's see, turn off the camera menu. Let's go ahead and check fuel. Fuel looks good on that side, 20. I think we need to switch tanks. Yep, we'll go ahead and switch tanks. There we go, tanks switched. And let's go ahead and taxi back out to the runway. Let's get back in the air and go to our next stop. So Wendover traffic. white and gray, I guess. White and gray Super Cub. Taking off runway 12. Pretty much straight out departure. Wendover. Haha. Alright, in the cockpit. And let's go ahead and get trim. And power. Yeah, a little bit of a crosswind. That didn't help us on the landing there. To get low and slow. And pop the flaps, pop it off the ground. Stay in ground effect down here. Accelerate. And flaps coming up. All right. Now what we are going to do, we're going to head out here to the east. So let's just go ahead and fly down this runway here. Probably see everybody they're back over by Salt Lake City, all those commercial pilots. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pick up I-80, yes, Interstate 80 out of Wendover to really kind of take us back here to Salt Lake City area. Some type of retention pond or something like that. It doesn't really, it shows up, there's all kinds of retention ponds that shows. I don't know why they're here. All right, let's see what we got here. We're climbing up through, let's go ahead and climb up to 5,000 feet. Go ahead. All right, so let's go ahead and 5,000 feet. Go ahead and push on over here. Oh, a little fast there. A little alarm in there on the old. Let's go ahead and turn on the autopilot. That way we can talk, we can look around. But now you can actually see here we're coming up on I-80. This is that line there. That is no longer a railroad track. That is, even though there's a railroad track right along I-80, the first one is the railroad track, but then the other one on the other side is actually Interstate 80. So that is going to be our landmark and our dead reckoning to get us back to Salt Lake City area, which is out over there. Everything is looking good with fuel. We're now on the left tank. Everything is looking good. But yeah, I got another landmark coming up right off the nose. But right off front here, right off the nose out there, that is the Bonneville Salt Flats. Yes, the famous land speed record salt flats where people go. That is the Bonneville Salt Flats. So very, very cool, right off the nose there. What we're going to do is just under heading mode on the autopilot, we're just going to go fly right down the interstate here. So yeah, there is the 2 lanes of the interstate, and then right below us is the railroad that's following. But yep, that is the Bonneville Salt Flats that we're looking at right here. I can come in the cockpit and so yep, out over here, that is Bonneville Salt Flats. Amazing stuff. And again, here in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can do all this stuff while all under the whole umbrella of aviation and flying airplanes. So I just find it amazing. But yep, we're heading now back home here on the flight. We've got one stop that we're going to do, and we've got some other flyovers that we are also going to do as we work our way back. So we'll probably have some time again under autopilot after we get to our first landmark here. So, which is actually on the chart. So yep, we are just coming on out here, passing the Bonneville Salt Flats, but I'm looking at the VFR chart here, and where we're heading, it, like I said, it is on the chart. It says tree sculpture. So we are just flying right down the interstate here. That is what is right out there, the 2-lane I-80. And then on the right, the black line on the right, that is the railroad. Out over here is the Bonneville Salt Flats. You can see blue wrap. He is in a Cessna 152. That is another human here flying in our area. But here we are, just chugging along. This is interesting stuff out here. Who knows what some of the stuff is? Somebody knows. But we are now just flying almost right over the Bonneville VOR somewhere out here. So somewhere out here is the little building with the Bonneville VOR. Probably right out there is the Bonneville VOR, which is on our GPS map down here. There it is right there, BVL, Bravo, Victor, Lima. But we can still just dead reckon, just go ahead and just use these landmarks here. Just go ahead and use the I-80 to get home. But we're gonna make one full stop out here at the tree sculpture, which, like I said, here, I will show it to you. Right here. Where is my cursor? There it is. There it is. Tree sculpture. We're just passing the VOR, the Bonneville VOR. Tree sculpture. It is on the VFR chart. So we are going to fly to the tree sculpture, which Cory did in his video. Again, if you want to see the video, I have a link already in the description. You can check out actually Cory Robbins' video. Obviously, his whole flight has been edited down, where we're doing the whole flight here. So, all right, just flying right over the interstate. See vehicles down there on the interstate. Looking good. But yep, Bonneville Salt Flats out here. Fascinating. Absolutely, absolutely fascinating what you can learn and explore here. Actually, we're going to do another full stop. So we're going to stop at Del, Utah. And I'm not sure if Del, Utah is even on the, might be in our avionics. So let's go ahead and see here. Let's go ahead and go to nearest. Lucin, yep, Del, Utah. Well, there we go. Let's go ahead and put that. Let's go ahead and activate direct. Let's turn off the nearest, and there we go. Obviously, if you follow the you follow the interstate, you're gonna get to Del, Utah, because it's literally a truck stop on the interstate. So. All right, but we just need to keep our eyes peeled, because the tree sculpture, I will tell you that Microsoft Flight Simulator does not model the tree sculpture. I have been out to it already. So we've got a nice flight back, probably after the tree sculpture. I don't know, I like saying that. We will then head to the truck stop at Del, Utah, and then from there we will head over the mountain and over the Bingham copper mine, drop down into the valley, and get back to South Valley Airport where we started, and we started that 2 hours ago. So this is going to be almost a 3-hour flight and live stream, which is amazing. So one of the things I might probably need to think about doing is actually putting in some timestamps. So in the future, people who want to watch this can actually see the chapters and skip to where they want to go. That might be something interesting to do, but it takes about a day or two for the live stream to be converted just into a video. So but look at this, look at all the marks and stuff out here. People probably just out right alongside the road, just having a good old time. Yep. There we go, just flying right down. Of course, you know, the next flight, I don't know, we might have to do a flight, maybe Beechcraft Baron pilot. We need to recreate one of his flights, one of his and Kim's flight in the twin Baron. Yeah, well, I need to do that. Might need to do something, maybe jump in the turboprop. We haven't done a turboprop flight. Recreated one, maybe go back to Steve-O KENV and do that. Do an IFR flight. Get up high, get up fast, relax, you know. Cory would probably be like, get up high and fast. What are you doing that for? You gotta get low and slow. It's all in the STOL, man. You gotta get short takeoff and land. All right, we are coming up on the tree sculpture. I know what to look for. I can see it now. So it is that black dot right there. So I will do let's see, what's the wind doing here? Our neighbor telling us that we've got a good wind now from coming out of the south. It looks like the south. It's out of like 210 degrees. Right now we got a 14 knot crosswind from the right. All right, I'm going to come off autopilot. So my airplane, and let's go ahead and we'll kind of do a crosswind here. But yeah, you can see, if you look, that there's like a turn off, like a lollipop shape. I'm trying to trim up. Trim. There we go. So you can kind of see there's like a lollipop shape right there, because that's the turn off, and then the parking for people who want to go take pictures of the tree. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and call this. This is basically like kind of a crosswind. Slowing down here. Trim. I like that from Juan Brown, the Blanco Lirio. Like that. He does that. Trim. All right, let's go. See there, right there on the wing. That's where we're going. Get this nice turn around a point here. All right, we'll go ahead and call that downwind. And flaps, 2 notches of flaps. We're in the downwind. Got this embankment or something. I don't know what this line is out here. You be careful about that. Let's go full flaps. And we're kind of, sort of, oh, trim. All right, here we go. Where were we at? There it is. I got it. A little bit of a bounce. Brakes. We're in the wind now, so it's much better landing, shorter landing roll. All right, put the brakes on. Let's go ahead, and so that right there it is. So if you look this up, this is the Utah tree. This tree sculpture along I-80, just to the west of Salt Lake City. It is a sculpture of this big tree with these balls on it and stuff. It's very interesting. Again, you can see the tree in Cory Robbins' in real life video that I've got linked down below. So it is really cool. But there we are with that. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get right in there, bring the flaps in. And let's go ahead and check fuel here. And fuel, we're below 20 there. What we got over here? Yeah, about the same. So we'll go ahead and leave it on the left tank. And flaps up. And parking brake is off. Power, power, power. Into the wind. And a little bit of flaps. And up we go. Let's not go right over the people. That probably scared some of those people on the interstate. Like, what is this airplane doing? What is it doing? So let's not fly over the people. And let's go ahead now and accelerate. And we are going obviously the wrong way, so we will do a 180 here. But yeah, out here is a whole nother, you know, military bombing range, targets out in the, just like we did the F-16 flight. So. But there we go. Bye-bye, tree sculpture. There it is, right down there. Very interesting. All right. Go ahead, climb up here a little bit. Get a little bit of altitude. We are going to go direct to Dell now, which is we're clear of the restricted airspace and all that. So we'll just go direct Dell. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got going on. Yeah, we're getting up there to 4,700 feet. Let's go ahead and make that our thing. Go on roll control. Let's go ahead and turn on the autopilot. It'll nose down here as it captures 4,700 feet. And then, oh, not what I want to do. Sorry about that. Let's come down here in the autopilot, hit nav mode, and now Ghost here, or at least our Ghost 371 Romeo with Juliet. Now we'll go ahead and capture our direct line to Dell, Utah, and we've got how long before we get to Dell, Utah? We got another 17 minutes before we get to Dell, Utah. So for that reason, I am going to take another break and enjoy the music, and I'll be back here in about 10 minutes or so. So enjoy, and I'll be back. Alright, I am back here in the cockpit with you. Forget to do this every time. One headset goes to the PC, one headset goes to the Xbox. There we go. I can hear the airplane. I just decided to go ahead there while you listen to music and while we're just taking a break. Just go ahead and have Ghost here climb up 7,000 feet so we can clear this mountain because it's like 6,700 feet. So we're just to get over here, and then we are gonna just, as soon as we get to the top, we're gonna drop down the other side of this mountain here, and you can actually start to see now over here. That is the mountain that separates on the other side is our home airport, South Valley. So we're gonna come over here, climb to the top. Remember, we are going direct here to Del, Utah. Got something I want to do. We're going to do a full stop here at Del, Utah. You might be thinking, once we get there, you might be thinking, what? Why are we stopping here? Well, because. That's why. Because we can. That's why. So let's go ahead and put the knockers on. And so right down over here, yeah, there's a gas station. We're going to stop at that gas station. I'm going to come off autopilot. Go ahead, come off the throttle here a little. Get a descent going in here to Del, Utah. It's right there where the interstate. So the interstate's gone through this pass here, right here. And so we are just reconnecting with the interstate again. Again, that's dead reckoning in VFR navigation. We're going to come down here to this gas station that's here in Del, Utah. Because the cool thing about it is that the airport in Del, Utah has got a runway. And so that way you can stop just checking. Look at that wind now, though. That wind is still coming out pretty heavy out of the 210 again. About 210, 240 is the wind. So we'll see. We'll see if we're actually going to do. Maybe instead we'll just fly over it, take a look. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see. I don't know. Don't know. All right. It's getting kind of late in the day also. So I'm going to come over here and just go ahead and turn on the landing lights and just put them on pulse. That way people can see us better. So now our wingtip lights here are pulsating. Yeah. Don't really need the lights for landing, but just anti-smash lights. And then just got a few more things to show you. And one of them is at the base of, over there by the Bingham, I don't even know what mountain this is. I know it's Bingham Copper Mine, but I don't know what mountain. Don't know. I still don't know. Getting a little bit of weather building up though. That might be interesting. Alright, we're gonna go do a right downwind. You can see where we're landing. Right down there. So yep. There is a gas station with runway down here. I think in the real live video, I think Cory went in and get a cherry Coke. Maybe we'll do a touch and go or something. Maybe we'll just do a flyby or something instead of a full stop. I don't need a drink. But there you go. You can see there's a long runway and a short runway. So I say we go for the short runway. I think Cory actually landed this way, but we're gonna land 180 degrees. So he landed heading this way. So about 060. We're gonna land about 240. There you can see it there. All right, slow it down, trim. And flaps coming in. Let's go ahead and go full flaps. I think I'm high. Alright, runway in sight. Oh, another bout, another. All right, bringing the flaps in. Power. Power. Ooh, definitely got a bounce going on there. Ooh, that was bad with the sun right here in my sunglasses, and that asphalt. I could not really even get a perspective of where the ground was. That was, ooh. All right, well, let's go ahead and pick up our dead reckoning here, which is I-80. So, yep. Stop there at the runway and go to the gas station and get yourself some fuel, some drink. Alright, climb it up. Yeah, we've got some. Alright, it's getting late in the day. I didn't say it, but the aviators are coming off. Should have probably taken them off for that touch and go there. That was pretty bad. I'm not happy with that one. I am not happy with that one. Alright, trim. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of clouds coming in now. We just climb on out. Getting a little late in the day. We've been in the air for a while. We've been flying for 2.5 hours here. Alright, just fly down I-80 here. Got something I want to show you at the base of this mountain right here. And then we're going to climb up over that ridge. I got one more thing to show you, then we're going to drop into South Valley. We could probably go ahead and listen to South Valley here. So let's, nearest South Valley on there. Yep, number 5.
Uniform 42 automated weather observation 0200 Zulu. Wind 160 at 11. Visibility tree. Sky condition 14,400 feet scattered. Temperature 27 feet.
It's hot. It's hot today.
Altimeter 2981. Uniform 42 automated.
All right. Turn into traffic, but so the wind has shifted almost 180 degrees. We took off with a little bit of a north wind. Now we got that south wind. All right, let's get in the cockpit here. Let's go ahead and pitch on over, let the plane accelerate. I want to come right here in the base. I think it's the base of this mountain. What I want to show you here. Actually, no, we've got to go all the way across. This is not. Because this is not Antelope Island. I was thinking this is Antelope Island right there, but that's not Antelope Island. We've got to still cross over to that peak over there. Let me check to make sure there's no airspace restrictions. Not that I see. Let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, 5,500. Let's go ahead and lock that in. And let's go into heading mode. Turn on the autopilot. Just going to do a little waggle here as it decides what it likes to do and what it doesn't like to do. Let's go ahead and see if we can Throw in just a little bit more prop, maybe get some speed. All right, there we go. We're heading right where we want to go. Not really sure. Of course, we could go ahead and on our GPS we could put a direct or a nearest to South Valley. Go ahead and put it. Just go ahead and put it in there. Go ahead and activate the direct so we have it. There we go. So now it's in. Was there another? Did I see a gamer tag? No, it doesn't show anybody. No, I don't see anything. I could have sworn I thought I saw a gamer tag fly across there, but I guess not. There is Rye 13. He is in an Airbus 320 Neo. So we're looking good now. Everything's looking good. It's got a bunch of probably stuff for salt manufacturing and all this from the Great Salt Lake here. This island here is Stansbury Island. I was thinking that was Antelope Island. And so this was the ridge that we wanted to go up right there. But nope, we've got to cross over here a little bit of the Salt Lake. So I got two more things that I want to show you when we go over there. And so, but we got some clouds we got to watch out for. We got to stay VFR and all this kind of stuff. So we'll have to keep that in mind here. All right, let's go ahead. We got this southern wind now, so let's go ahead and just deviate just a little bit to the right here as we go. But yeah, just talking about some things. I now live stream. Clearly I live stream on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. Wednesdays are my Wheels Up Wednesday when I live stream Microsoft Flight Simulator, where I am now recreating in real life pilot YouTubers and redoing their flights in as best as I can airplanes that they are actually flying in. So we're probably going to be maybe in the Baron or something like that for the next one to recreate beach Baron pilots. Or it might be in the Cessna one, so I don't know. I haven't really figured out. I know that as we get closer to Oshkosh time, that Wheels Up Wednesday will be doing some type of video and stuff into Oshkosh that somebody maybe Trent Palmer or something like that. That might be because he's got a pretty neat video. His last video, I think it's from Oshkosh 2019 maybe, or something like that. So maybe we'll recreate that. But then I also live stream Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9. That is where you can go ahead and grab your coffee, as I have right here. You grab your cool coffee mug. I've got links down here if you want to buy me a coffee, or even an affiliate link if you want to buy yourself some Oreo coffee. There's links down there. But I do that on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9 Eastern time, and that's typically then where I'm playing other Xbox games. I do like to play puzzle platformers and independent and individual developed games on the Xbox. But we'll also be playing some big titles here in the future, because August seems to be a pretty good release of games that I really want to play. There's a new hunting game coming out. And there's some other games that are releasing that I've saved that I really can't remember, but they're coming out in August. So August looks like a good time for my other gaming stuff that I'm doing. So, but yeah, and then again, Monday night at 8 p.m. Again Eastern time. So Monday and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Wheels Up Wednesday on Wednesdays, and then Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. And then I'll also be looking at perhaps doing a real podcast talking about games, because again, I'm Uncle Mike. I'm your favorite gamer's favorite uncle, and yeah, I like games. I like playing games, and I like talking about games. So I was thinking about maybe doing a podcast that's really all about gaming. There's a lot of gaming right now. Gaming journalism, I guess, is what they would call it. It's really in the news. It's very political. It's very, you know, PC versus console, PlayStation versus Xbox. I don't really care about all that. I like to play games, right? And I like to then talk about games. So, but yeah, I just bottom line is I like games. I like playing games. I like talking about games. And let's just keep it at that. So, all right, we are crossing over here the little tail end here of the Great Salt Lake. But there's over here on the bottom of this mountain here is something that I want to see if we can actually see in flight sim. And then we're going to go ahead and turn south towards South Valley. But before we do that, we're actually going to kind of hug the mountain here that's right off at 2 o'clock. And the reason being is because I'm going to show you what's up in the mountain, or what's not up in the mountain. I don't know how you would actually say that, but yeah, it's pretty interesting up there, up on this mountain. So, nope, there's somebody flying the F-14 Tomcat, Lord Stanuk. Lord Stanuk. I'm sure there's stories behind everybody's gamer tag, just like there is with mine. So, but why it Lord Stanuk? I don't know. Lord Saint something maybe. All right, so I am looking here just to make sure that we are where I want to be. So we need to be. I need to be low and slow, and I need to be literally following the shore. So, all right, coming off autopilot, my airplane. Turn inbound. We need to be right along the shore, not out here. So, there's also a neat thing here in the flight sim called active pause, and I've got it where I've got a keyboard here where I can just hit the space bar, and everything, the noise, everything continues. But it literally pauses the game, so that way you can then look around and stuff. And so we might need to do that here because we're not going to land or anything. We're actually just going to fly over this here, and I want to see if this is here. Then we're gonna start a climb here. So I have an idea of what I want to do. I have an idea of what I want to do. So. All right. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, see if we can see this landmark. We'll see. And then we're going to basically do a left 270, and we're going to fly up this. Just kind of make an ascent on this side of this ridge, and then cross over into South Valley. But there is then one more thing that I want to show you. So, all right, trim, trim, trim. It is literally right where the interstate makes that turn back to the left. So I'm going to line up on the interstate here. Yep. And then I am going to come into where I think is a pretty good place. And I'm going to active pause this and see if we can see what I want to see. And it's actually right there. And no, we can't see it. It's not modeled very. The image has got stuff that makes it the topography, so you can't tell what it is. So, all right, I'm going to come off active pause. We're going to start our left 270. Look at that beautiful sky. Oh, that's amazing. We're just about going to get back before dark. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start our ascent up this mountain right here. Is what we're going to do. Now, what I was looking for right there, in case you're, if you're wondering, there is an old airway marker, so concrete arrows in the ground, letting the male pilots be able to look down and then see, right, which route they are on and see the arrow. And this one was specifically pointing toward Salt Lake City. So, but you couldn't really see. You can see it on Google Earth and stuff, but you can't see it here. So a little disappointing there. So, all right, I'm just hand flying here up in our ascent here as we climb on up. All right, climbing here in 90 knots. If you come down here, you can actually see there's U-42. Sorry about that. There's U-42, Uniform 42. That's South Valley. That's where we're going to end up. Obviously, over here out there, you can see the beacon for the airport, right? Didn't I just see the beacon? Out over there is Tool Airport. Out over here, in case you want to know, that is out over there is the Tool U.S. Army Ammunition Depot. Then farther south down over there is where they do a lot of chemical weapons stuff. That's the farther when we were over in Wendover, farther south, that's where we would have been. But we are just climbing up here. 500, 450, 500 feet per minute. See if we can see Tool Airport out there. Yep, it's right out there. That's Tool Airport right there. It's a big racetrack place right out there. And then out here is the U.S. Army Depot. Huge Army Depot where they, keep ammunition and stuff. All right, it's climbing up. Man, beautiful evening though. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. We got our flashy anti-smash on. Look at that. Look. Wow. Let's see if I can. That is cool. Wow. Amazing. On the Xbox, a flight sim. All right. Just going to follow this ridge here as we climb up so we can climb up over it. There is something I want to show you. So bear with me. Stick with me here. Again, I'm just hand flying, trimming it all up using the controller. So in case you're interested in Microsoft Flight Simulator on the console, you can do it. You can have a great time. It's amazing. Controlling the airplanes. Absolutely amazing. All right, just climbing up here. Like I said, I've got something to show you. Calm down. All right, we'll kind of turn now toward our destination, which is back home at South Valley Airport, just south of Salt Lake City International. Got some weather moving in, so yeah, we're losing daylight. It's been a long flight. We've been flying for 2 hours 45 minutes. All right, up we go. Up we go. in the wild blue yonder, flying high. Just, again, amazing. Here we are. This is Xbox console flying on the Xbox Series S. So this isn't 4K or anything like you can get with the extra power and stuff of the Xbox Series X. So, all right, just climb it up so we can clear this ridge. And then once we see what we want to see, it's going to be pretty hard to miss. Looking good. Then look at that in that valley there of Salt Lake and Provo. Man, that's amazing. Look at that. Look at that. Golly, that is amazing. All right. Just about here. You ready? Here we go. I will change views because it's in the shadow here, so that way we can. But here you go. Look at this. This is the Bingham copper mine. It is the deepest open pit copper mine in the world. Trim, trim, trim. Look at this. Amazing. Wow. Look at that mine. Look how deep that is. And you can see the buildings down there. You get a scale. Wow. That is amazing. So yeah, if you're interested in just having fun, maybe trying to get an airplane to land down there, you're that kind of flight simmer and stuff like that, but there is the Bingham copper mine. Deepest open pit copper mine in the world. All right. Let's head to home. Let's go ahead and...
Uniform 4-2 automated weather observation 0200 Zulu. Wind 14
Woo!
and 19er.
20 knot wind.
Visibility 10. Sky condition 14,400
All right.
feet scattered. Temperature 25C dew point.
Let's go ahead and pick a runway for landing here. So let's go ahead and tune the traffic. Let's go ahead and select a runway. So that's going to be runway 16. But because it's under control, I'm not going to announce us or anything like that. Oh, here we go. Look, we got it like, what was that? SkyWest 4282? So that's a real flight. As far as I know, that's a real flight, but because it doesn't have somebody's gamer tag over it, like that funky fart right there, that airplane, that SkyWest 4282, that's a real flight. That's what's cool. That's a real flight of an airplane. It's just it's being modeled in from real data, but it's not a human. All right, so we're going to be on a right 45 here, because there's our airport, right? Thought that was our airport. I do not have the airport in sight. I think that T hangars and stuff may be right in front of us there. right, trim. What do we got? We're supposed to do right traffic anyways for runway 16. That's on the chart. 5,600 feet is traffic pattern altitude. So we got a little bit more of the descent to still go. So 5,600. We could actually come in here if we wanted to and hit direct to and reactivate the direct to. There we go. We can zoom in on our GPS. There we go. Get all that straightened up. Again, 5,600 is traffic pattern altitude. Trim. And so I'm pretty sure those are the hangars right off the nose there. Yep, I can see the taxiway lights too. So there we go. We're on the right 45 for runway 16. Let's go ahead and turn off the flashies, and so there we go. Landing lights are on. Ooh, this is a look at the weather here now. Whoa, look at the clouds. That's amazing. All right, coming up here on traffic pattern altitude. Trim. What is that over there? Something's lit up over there though. All right, traffic pattern altitude. Trim. All right, here we go. Right 45, runway 16. There we go. South Valley, that's where we started. So we took off runway 34 when we left. Now we're doing 16. All right, let's go ahead and enter the downwind. So South Valley traffic, white and black Super Cub in ring. Right downwind, runway 16, South Valley. There we go. All right, nice and slow already. And we can go ahead, we can land long, so let's go ahead and bring in some flaps. 2 notches of flaps. Wow, look at that sky. Wow. That is amazing. Whew. Wow. All right. Let's go in full flaps. We are way high. Kick some rudder. Look at this thing drop out of the sky as we. Woo! Woohoo! I don't know if I should be doing this. Okay. There we go. Oh, we're fast though. Get that nose up. We're fast. We'll land long. There's no reason not to land long here. I can see the taxiway we want to turn off. We want to land right. I made the 1,000-foot markers. A little bit of power. Power off. Let her settle. Come on, Uncle Mike. Let her settle. Oh, kind of a wheel landing. I didn't let her get her slow enough. Been doing that a lot lately. All right, flaps coming up. And brakes. Breakage. Look at the sky and the colors. Wow. That is amazing. All right, we'll just come out here on the tarmac. South Valley traffic. White and black Super Cubs. Clear runway 16, South Valley. Come over here by the FBO. And shut her down. Shut her down. And we are home after a 3-hour flight. And we'll take that spot right there. There's Funky Fart out there in his F-18. There we go. Come on now. Hey, let's go ahead and get it a little closer. Come on. There we go. All right, parking brakes are on. Let's go ahead and landing lights come off. We'll go ahead and leave the nav lights on for anti-smash. Avionics master can come off. And everything else over here is looking good. Let's go ahead and pull that mixture. There we go. Now magnetos, alternator, battery comes off, and there we go. Woo-hoo! With our amazing flight to recreate Cory Robin of the Flying Cowboys and his plane Ghost, a real life flight that he did, a YouTube video, link to the videos in the description below. And so we just recreated that flight, a little over 3 hours long. That is amazing. Amazing. So yeah, absolutely. So well, thank you for joining me here on this Wheels Up Wednesday. You know, please click that thumbs up, click that like button if you do, subscribe if you haven't, and game on, because I am Uncle Mike, your favorite gamer's favorite uncle. Good night, everybody. Bye. Wow, that was an amazing flight. That would have been an amazing flight in real life. It's awesome to watch Cory's videos and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Amazing.